If I came to this world alone, why do I feel lonely? It's so funny because the other day I was in the gym. What the heck is going on? I was in the gym and I was exercising, working out, you know what I'm trying to say? And I was listening to Frozen. It was on my shuffle playlist for some reason. I never really listened to that song. It was Frozen by Little Baby. And he said a bar, and I was like, damn, that is so deep that I have to make a video. And he said, and I quote, if I came to this world alone, why do I feel lonely? I feel like a lot of people let that shit go over their head. I have to say it one more time. If I came to this world alone, why do I feel lonely? But from day one, we are conditioned to love other people, to live for other people, to die for other people, to give loyalties and promises and oaths for other people. The video that I watched by these senior people, and they were saying about how they felt like they have lived their life for their families, and that is one of their biggest regrets. And I feel like one of my biggest regrets would have to be something along that line as well. So I feel like it's so important to distinguish, am I self-sacrificing myself to be liked, to be appreciated? It's so crazy how, like, if you want love, you have to like sacrifice yourself in terms of like obviously like love and that. But if you want to be different, if you want to follow your dreams, if you're not even if you're not hurting anyone and you just want to do you, you know what I'm trying to say, you get so ostracized, you feel so alone, you feel so like, am I crazy for literally doing something that I love and I'm so passionate about, and it contributes to society, to the human consciousness, to evolution? Like, no one is by my side, I'm getting judged, I'm made fun of and stuff like that. This is why a lot of people just become copy paste. There's no original thinking, there's none of that, you know. I personally believe that you can cure loneliness by being alone by yourself. I know it sounds very weird, it doesn't make sense, but hear me out. When you're alone, when you embrace and you are lost in the sauce by being by yourself day in and day out, and you're not like so distracted, you're not lost in the sauce with what Jesse is doing, whatever this person is doing, and you're actually like full in keeping all of your energy, you don't have any leaky energy. I feel like that is when you have truly transcended what being alone is, and you don't feel like, you don't really feel alone, you are just with you. You know, there's a difference by being alone. A lot of people would be in their rooms by themselves and feel so uncomfortable under their skin. Imagine feeling so uncomfortable that you don't want to be under your skin. 90% of the population is just like that, you know. And there's been some research even done that people can't go a week without texting or calling. A week. And it's so crazy because I, by choice, have gone like such a long time without speaking to people and stuff like that, just for my own evolution, you know, because I feel like I really needed that. So there's a lot of things that I feel like I have implemented or I have activated within myself that makes me feel like a superhuman almost. And a lot of people don't have the privilege or the ability to perhaps tap into it like how I did. I'm not saying it's impossible. You obviously can, but a lot of people would not discipline themselves, or they wouldn't even try to be by themselves. Like, it would just be too hard. It's so funny. Like, I remember when like it was the start for me when I had to like go walk through that alone journey, and I would constantly be made fun of, saying, "Oh, like she has no friends, she's by herself all the time." Like, you know what I mean? Like, as if that is something to laugh about. Like, imagine, it's like, okay, cool, I have my own company, but you're so deluded with people that you don't even know yourself. Now that's a real comeback, you know? And it's so mad because for the longest, when I guess you can say, was obviously very reactive, living in survival mode, or whatever the case is, I would see it almost like it was not a compliment. It felt like an insult. It felt like, oh, I really need people. Like, is there something wrong with me? Why am I alone all the time? Why am I by myself? Why do I not have anyone with me? Why am I constantly going home to myself? Why is God constantly sending me home to myself? Why do I have to always go home to myself? I'm so tired. But then when I literally thugged it out and I went through it. And I remember during that time, a lot of people were still like, in the cycle of being around people, whatever, whatever. And I literally just like bawled out. I said, nah, like, if this is what it has to be, if this is the pain, if this is the suffering, I will go ahead, like, heads on. Like, I don't care. Because one thing about me is, if, like, a lot of people avoid the work of doing what they need to do to become who they need to become. And if you don't do that early, especially in your early 20s, that shit will come to bite you in your 30s, in your 40s, when you're way older. And 9 times out of 10, you probably have more responsibilities and you don't have that free will ability to, like, just, work on yourself because you might have a family, like, who knows what. I feel like there's a beauty in not fitting in, being alone. I know wanting connection is one thing. I understand craving connections, but do you give it to yourself? Because I feel like one thing about this world, I'm not trying to sound very deep or dark, but the reality of it is you came to this world by yourself. You're going to leave this world by yourself, and that is guaranteed. Every single time when you close your eyes before you go to bed, you're not promised that you're gonna wake up, but we just assume. Keyword assume. We just assume we're gonna wake up, we're gonna live another day. Some people literally pass away or they just die in their sleep, and that's just the reality of it. And for you to think that you are an exception is crazy. But for you to think that, like, oh, like, being by myself is crazy, that's crazy. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, have your priorities straight. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's like how people say sleep is the cousin to death, very much. So there's a lot of things that is like we have normalized, but it's very much Delulu. It's like us thinking we're gonna wake up the next day is very much Delulu. Like, I'm not even promised if I'm gonna see the next hour. I just think I will, but I'm not promised. So I feel like when you see life like that, you can mold life or your reality in the way where it does serve you. And when it comes to your goals, when it comes to your dreams, your aspirations, you can take the same principle. Okay, cool. If I'm not promised tomorrow, and if I'm not promised that I'm gonna wake up the next day, if I'm not promised if I'm gonna be alive in the next hour, like, random shit happens. If I'm not promised anything, then why can't I just be like 1% delusional or delulu about my reality? And I don't really like the word delusional or delulu because I feel like for you to desire something, you already have it. You are just not in the frequency that is in resonance of what you want. So I've had so many moments in my life where, like, I felt like I had deja vu of, like, I felt like I've done this before. I felt like I've been here before, but then it just doesn't make sense. I feel like it's almost like our soul knows our higher self. It knows where we should go, what to avoid, and it's always nudging us towards our highest good, towards our evolution, towards the best version of ourselves, towards the best lane that we should be on. And a lot of people become deluded by scarcity, by fear, by lack, and they become so deluded that they just think in error, they view life in error, and as the thinker thinks, the prover proves. So it's like the more you see something very wrong about a situation, the more likely you're going to prove to yourself, even though there is probably no reason for it to be wrong, you're going to prove yourself. And then when you prove yourself and then you see in reality as a feedback loop, you're going to say to yourself, oh, look, I've been saying this. I'm trying to say, but it's like whole time, if you change your mindset, your reality would always change. It's so crazy. I feel like the older that I have became, the more these simple generic quotes actually make sense. Like, just do it, and your mindset creates your reality. Like, those generic basic quotes, don't let it go over your head because there is some truth. Like, I would read those quotes when I was like 18, 19, and I would be like, yeah, obviously no shit, but it really be hitting. Like, it's crazy. And I feel like when you internalize, at the end of the day, you don't owe anyone. You don't own anyone. You don't own your mom. Your mom doesn't own you. You don't own anyone or anything. And you are not attached to everything. but you are everything at the same time. Does that make sense? So I feel like when you internalize that, it just makes you realize, all right, cool, I don't own anyone. No one owns me. I shouldn't be attached to anyone. I should be in this middle ground of like giving love, receiving love. If someone hurts me, I shouldn't close my heart. I shouldn't be closed off. You know what I'm trying to say? Because I know all of us can go through an experience and then like you can close your heart off. You can like not trust people, trust issues, all of that. But I feel like there is a beauty in knowing like how God wants us to like have our heart open, give unconditional love all the single time. If we get hurt, bounce back from that shit, alchemize the fuckery out of it and move on. A lot of people get lost in the sauce. A lot of people become stagnant in the fuckery and it becomes more than a phase. It becomes a life sentence. Quite literally. A lot of people are stuck in phases that they had no business being in. A lot of people are brought up in life conditions, circumstances that is the polarity aspect of success, which keep in mind when you transcend the collective consciousness, society consciousness, this world, because even through the three Abrahamic religions, it talks about how the world is an illusion. Do not fall for illusionary things are not what they seem, because you're a human. You think this is real, you think this is real, you think random shit that you can hold is real, but that is nothing but like it's not real, you know? So I feel like when you internalize the truth and how like the Abrahamic religions were trying to spit some bars from day one before like the scientist people were there, then you come to the understanding like, all right, cool, if this was an illusion, why can I not be delusional about my desires? What can I not be on my team? Why am I against me? Do you see how it's easy for us to be against ourselves from day one? And remember, every single thing that you're living, a reality that you're living, the people that you have in your reality are nothing but a mere reflection of who you are. So if someone treats you a type of way, like for example, I know this sounds so weird, but the other day I was parking. I was trying to park up or whatever, and there was this lady that I met. She was literally staring at me as I was parking, and I was thinking all the time in my mind, like, what's her problem? Why she's bare like in my business? Like, I kid you not, she was like staring at me as I parked, like proper like standing up and that. And then I was like, damn, like that's so weird. But then when I put two and two together, I was thinking like, damn, she reminds me of my dad so much, because my dad is a very much similar archetype to her, very much like militant, very much like in your business, very much, you know. And it's so crazy how people in different shades, colors can literally mirror your childhood, can mirror your parents, can mirror people's behaviors. If you're not conscious enough, you're not gonna put two and two together. But like reality is just mirroring what you have already lived, what you have experienced, and what you've already emotionally intensely experienced when it comes to the state that you are occupying. Yeah. So I feel like that's game for all. At the end of the day, you're gonna die, so you might as well die doing what you want. You have one life, not two, not three. You're not a cat. And also, internalize that God chose you. God could have chosen anyone. You are literally one of one. You are a unique configuration with the life skills that you have, your emotional intelligence, your likes, your dislikes. There can never be a two of two. You are literally one of one. Even within your siblings, you guys are like, you'll never meet two siblings that are like to the T the same. Even twins don't have the same DNA, I'm pretty sure. So when you come to the understanding that you are literally one of one and no one can ever replicate you, and like you're just having this human experience, and after you become old or whatever the case is, you're gonna go back to real home, then you come to the understanding like, don't get lost in the sauce. Like, do your little mission, do what you have to do, inspire who you need to inspire, and let that shit talk for you. Nothing more, nothing less. A lot of people become deluded in this world thinking it's real. Whole time, it's the energy behind it that you put. That is what makes it real. But yeah, I feel like internalizing that I'm never alone. I have God. If I have God, who do I have to lose to? And it's so funny. I say that to my mom all the time. Like, you can love someone so much, but if they're constantly needing validation, milking you energetically, doing all the above, there's gonna come a day, like a time in a day where you have to ask yourself, I've been milked, I've been finessed, but how long am I gonna let this shit keep happening? Because like I'm gonna resent them and resent myself for allowing such bullshit behaviors to be happening, even though I know better, you know, because a lot of people do things for other people for such long periods of time, and then when those people backstab you, when those people do you dirty, then you turn around and say, I've done all of this for you, how dare you? Guys, family is a title. Don't let that shit go over your head. Don't get me wrong, if you have good family, good for you, but if you're doing favors for people, for family members, and they're constantly abusing you and there's no boundaries, then you have to sit down and ask yourself, what is it in me that I'm still enabling this behavior? Do I really think they're gonna love me anymore? Like, they're gonna love me more just because I'm giving them more attention, more action, and doing favors and services for them? You have to literally like touch grass and come home to yourself, because if you can't distinguish in like, a line between you and family and just boundaries in general, you'll get lost in the sauce. And I've seen this a lot, especially